Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Guidance by Glazer. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Thursday afternoon. We're all very excited here on the Glazer team. We have a new team member. She couldn't join us today because she's at the DMV, but she will join us hopefully next week and you'll get to meet her. But also it is our Corcoran annual holiday party, so we are getting down tonight. We will not be Facebook Living that, so unfortunately you'll just have to get an account of it next week. But in all seriousness, we have a very interesting topic today. It is the topic of bidding wars, and we're going to give you 5 key tips on how to win said bidding wars. Despite the fact that the market has slowed, good properties are still moving very quickly, and because there is such a disparity in well-priced good properties with the overpriced properties, the ones that are well-priced are moving quickly and they are getting multiple bids. We were recently faced with a bidding war situation earlier this week, and I want to share the tips I gave those buyers with you for free. No questions asked. You don't even have to give me your credit card information. How about that, folks? Before I get into that, I want to let you know that we do have some inventory needs. I'm going to talk about 2 specific property types, and if you are out there listening, if you have friends, relatives, neighbors, children, pets, whoever has these apartments available, please call us. We have very serious buyers. They are committed to buying now, and if we can sell them something and find them something, we will be able to transact. The first is a 3-bedroom, 2-bed property in a condominium under $4 million in Greenwich Village, my home and my favorite place on earth. If you have something in that space, if you're considering selling, if we know you, if we don't know you, maybe you're getting this passed along from a friend, give us a call. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, condominium, elevator, does not need to have a doorman, under $4 million in Greenwich Village. We have a very lovely family interested in that. Also, if you're in the Flatiron area, Chelsea Flatiron Village, that kind of lower 5th Avenue between 23rd and 14th Street area, and you have a loft on a top floor, doesn't need to be huge, but does need to be on the top floor with access to private outdoor space, something that's a wreck, something that we can really sink our teeth into and put a nice renovation on. I have a buyer for that. In fact, he might even be watching, and he might even be admiring my sweater. I'm not sure, but it's very possible. So if you have that for under $3 million, give us a call, shoot us a text, email, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, although I did deactivate my Instagram. I need a social media cleanse. Ironic, I know, since I'm filming on Facebook. But let's jump into it. 5 key tips on how to win a bidding war. First tip, if you can, see the home twice before you submit your bid. Now, that seems like a very obvious statement, and in fact it is, but let me explain why it's particularly important in a bidding war situation. What happens in bidding wars is it's like an auction mentality, right? It's the sense of heightened emotions. When you see something that everybody else wants, it's like waiting online at an Apple store. You're like, what are all those people waiting online for? I need to get some of that. It's the same mentality. Your mind plays tricks on you, and you get convinced that you want something more than you want it because other people want it as well. And therefore, if you can see something twice, kind of giving yourself pause. You're saying, okay, the first time I got really excited about the property, I really wanted. The second time you're like, okay, let me take a little deep breath, let me assess how I really feel about the property and ensure that those feelings I felt the first time are in fact real. So again, not everybody has the opportunity to see a home twice. Timing is everything, but if you do have that privilege, I highly recommend before you put your final bid in, see a place twice, because when you actually go to talk to your broker, us, of course, since everybody works with us, we work with every single person. Many people say I have every client in New York City. When you're working with people, that was a Donald Trump joke. No politics on these videos. But when we're working with people, you can really take an assessment of how you really feel about it. So if you really are in love with the place after you see it twice, then of course you're going to try to put your absolute best foot forward. But if you're like, I really like it, but the second time, it kind of showed me that there's other fish in the sea, then maybe you're going to put in a really healthy bid, but you're not necessarily going to put in that winning bid again. Winning a bidding war doesn't necessarily mean you win the apartment. It'll also mean that you've done your best effort, but you actually don't get the home because you don't want to overpay for it. Aha! Winning does not always mean winning, boys and girls. Second tip. Have all your documents ready for when you submit the offer. Now, typically in a bidding war situation, the listing agent will give you instructions on what they want. They'll say, we need X, Y, and Z documents. Oftentimes, they might only ask for one document. On our team, when we prepare our clients, we try to provide as many documents as we can to paint a full financial and social and personal picture for the listing agent. So that includes what we call an asset and liability statement. That's essentially a spreadsheet that says, here's what I got in the bank, here's the debt I have, here's my income, here's me, this is what I got to offer. We try to submit a pre-approval if you are financing, showing that you're working with the lender who's qualified you for the loan that you're about to request. That is also very helpful. In addition, other things, sometimes people want to include a CV. That's a resume in English. Some people want to include a little bio about themselves. Some people also want to include a fuzzy letter, which is kind of like a love letter, and I'll get into that in my next tip. But basically, we try to submit a complete, robust package of information on behalf of our clients. Now, we do that with every buyer with whom we're working. But in particular, in a bidding war, you want to stand out from the crowd. And I believe providing transparency and giving them all the numbers and pieces of information they need to make a proper assessment, especially if you are qualified, and typically our buyers are qualified to buy the homes they're bidding on, that will really help you stand out from the crowd. And it also indicate to the listing agent, hey, this team has come to play. This team is real. They take themselves seriously. This is a team with whom I can operate to ensure that there's a successful transaction in our future. And that's also something a lot of people don't really take into consideration. So bear that tip in mind. Tip number 3, as I said, try to include as many personal touches as you can. Listen, this is the transaction business, right? It's I make an offer, do you accept my offer? No. I come up higher, do you accept my offer? Yes. It's very robotic oftentimes, and it's very impersonal. But we are all people, brokers included. Yes, I have a heart and soul. I know, hard to believe. But we all have feelings, and buyers are real people and sellers are real people, and circumstances oftentimes don't really get expressed. So if you have a story that you would like to tell to the owner to personally touch them, to give a personalized approach, then I recommend what I call a fuzzy letter. Now, a fuzzy letter is simply a letter saying, we really love your home. Here's our story. We just got married, or we're about to have a kid, or we're pregnant, or we just had our first kid. Share with them why you want their home. There's a reason you're gravitating towards that property. So explain to them why, just exactly what it is that you gravitate towards. We recently won a bidding war for our clients in Park Slope in the middle of last year, and because my clients expressed themselves, what they do, what their backgrounds are, it actually deeply resonated with one of the owners of the home, and we were able to obtain that property as the second highest bid on the table. So we knew that someone was willing to offer more, and there was more value on the table despite the fact that we weren't the highest bid, because those people gravitated towards us, and my buyers wrote a really nice love letter, fuzzy letter. Something that I just learned yesterday from one of the great coaching clients in the Tom Ferry ecosystem, thank you DJ if you watch this, shout out to you, is send a video. Nowadays, I'm on video right now, and there's so many apps and opportunities to record a 30-second video. That's a super personalized touch. Going forward, I'm going to speak to my clients about putting their face on camera and saying, hey, it's Jack and Jill. We just got married. We really love your home. We'd really love you to consider our offer. Boom. I think that personalized touch is going to be the icing on the cake needed for us to win even more winning wars on behalf of our clients. Tip number 4, going away from the personalized touch and getting really granular with you, is take the trader mentality when considering your bid. So what does that mean? It means offer an uneven number, right? When an apartment is listed just as an even number, make it simple, $1 million, but you really want it and you're willing to pay 1.1, let's say, don't offer 1.1, offer 1.10752436, right? Let's get down to the decimal place. Let's get down as deep as we can, because quite frankly, again, it goes back to when someone's reviewing all the offers side by side, they're gonna think your offer is a little quirky with the number, but that gets their attention. And then B, if someone else is also offering 1.1 and you guys are equally qualified and on the same exact level, perhaps that additional $2,000 to $3,000 is that little sweetener that they need to take your bid. So trader mentality when considering your final offer number. And the last tip number 5, is it's not always about the number. As I said, in addition to the personalized touches, sometimes it's about the other terms you're offering that can really be compelling to the seller. So what does that mean? Oftentimes a seller wants to ensure that no matter what, regardless of the price, they have a surefire deal on the table. So that means if you are financing, maybe you get rid of that contingency in the contract. That is language that specifically says, if I can't obtain a loan, I'm allowed to back out of this transaction. Now that's very risky, so to speak, and I can walk you through the actual true risks of doing that. If you want to learn more, feel free to drop a comment saying, please share more with you, and I'll happily reach out to you. But on the same token, it's an amazing sweetener. It's an amazing opportunity to say, listen, I understand, I'm really confident that I'll get the loan, and I want to move forward with this transaction. So you sort of take away the parachute, and the seller gets a higher level of comfort that your transaction is going to be completed, and therefore might consider your bid over someone who's maybe offering $20K more but needs that contingency, so they have that constraint and handicap, and they feel more comfortable accepting your bid. So that's something to consider. Another thing to consider is closing date. If you know that the seller, say, needs to find another place before they can sell you their home, you can allow them what's called a post-close possession agreement. Now, all my attorney friends out there are probably cringing at the thought of this, but the reality is it's a very useful tool in getting someone to consider your best and final, your bidding war bid. Because if you allow them to stay in the apartment after you close, what you've given them is the money that you've now given for the purchase, but allowing them to take a deep breath, and they have a few months or a few weeks to find the next place while staying at the home they've already lived. So they don't have to pack, they don't have to move, they don't have to do all of this kershuffle, fluffle, bluffle in order to find the next place. And that can be really, really helpful for, say, a young family who has 1 or 2 kids and it's really chaotic in the household and they really don't want to move twice. So again, other terms, contingencies, closing dates, little things like that. Maybe you want their furniture and they're like, please take our furniture, and they don't have to move the furniture when they go to move. Things like that. When I sold one of my apartments in the East Village, I actually, the buyer was really enthused at the thought of having my furniture, so I sold it to him at a very light price because I didn't want to have to move all that stuff. I wanted to start fresh and get brand new stuff, so it was a perfect situation. But because he made me aware of that, I was even more interested in his accepting his bid. At the time, I had 6 bids on my apartment, so that was one of the reasons I accepted his. So those are 5 key tips I believe can be very helpful winning bidding wars. We represent a ton of buyers on the Glazer team. If you are thinking about buying or selling, consider us, especially on the buy side, as I just said. And I'd love to hear your comments. If you have snarky comments, we always love those on the Glazer team, but we actually like serious comments as well. And if you think this is helpful and you think any of your friends or colleagues, professional or otherwise, would be benefiting from listening to me on this video series, I'd love for you to send a share, pass it around, and yeah, get the word out. We're here to help. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care.